Following persistent requests from Ukraine and mounting pressure from its allies, the United States has finally yielded and will assist Kyiv in procuring F-16 fighter jets to modernize its air force. U.S. President Joe Biden made the significant announcement following the G7 meeting in Japan on May 19th. In a notable shift from his previous position, Biden expressed his commitment to assisting Ukraine in acquiring modern fourth-generation Western fighter jets. Among the potential options, the F-16 has consistently been considered a leading contender for several reasons. Biden told reporters, "The United States, together with our allies and partners, are going to begin training Ukrainian pilots on fourth-generation fighter aircraft, including F-16s, to strengthen Ukraine's air force as part of a long-term commitment to Ukraine's ability to defend itself." Biden added that he had received a flat assurance from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that they will not use it to go on and move into Russian geographic territory. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes how Ukraine could get and operate F-16 Viper. Let's get into the details. Ukraine's Air Force currently relies on Soviet-era MiG-29 and Su-27 fighters, which are outmatched by Russia's more advanced Su-35 fighters and MiG-31BM interceptors. These Russian aircraft possess the capability to detect and engage Ukrainian planes from distances where counterattacks are not feasible. Russian fighters have superior radar systems and are equipped with long-range R-77-1 and R-37M air-to-air missiles, allowing them to engage Ukrainian aircraft from a distance without getting within visual range. As a result, Ukrainian pilots have limited opportunities to effectively retaliate, especially since they often have to fly at low altitudes to minimize their radar signature. Even though the F-16 may not possess the characteristics of a cutting-edge fighter, considering that it entered service 45 years ago, it still offers agility, affordability, and upgradability. Acquiring F-16s could provide Ukrainian pilots with the necessary resources to effectively combat Russian aerial assets. F-16 is an American fighter, and currently Lockheed Martin is responsible for its manufacturing and support. So while F-16s are operated by many countries, the approval of the U.S. is needed to transfer them to Ukraine. Also, support from the U.S. will be required for maintenance, spare parts, and munitions. The initiative for F-16 training has gained significant traction in recent weeks, with countries such as the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Denmark expressing their willingness to participate in the program. Although President Biden's statement does not explicitly mention the sourcing of F-16s for Kyiv, it makes no sense that the United States would support a training program specifically tailored for this aircraft without also approving the transfer of the F-16s to the Ukrainian Air Force. The previous stance of the United States was influenced by concerns regarding the potential escalation that could arise from supplying advanced fighter jets to Ukraine. This viewpoint encompassed scenarios such as F-16 attacks on Russian Federation territory. Additionally, practical challenges, including the significant training requirements and overall costs associated with such a transfer, also factored into the decision-making process. Furthermore, there were apprehensions regarding the transfer of advanced technologies, such as newer AIM-120 missiles or AESA radars, to Ukraine. The concern was that if these technologies were obtained from lost Ukrainian aircraft, they could potentially be studied and reverse engineered by countries like Russia and China. Previously, Colin Kahl, the former U.S. Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, estimated that it could take 18 to 24 months for Ukraine to incorporate second-hand F-16s into its air force. Various predictions have been made based on the type of training provided, which is linked to the proficiency level of the selected Ukrainian pilots for the F-16 course. For instance, a leaked U.S. Air Force assessment conducted earlier this year suggested that Ukrainian fighter pilots could receive training in the fundamental operations of F-16s within approximately 4 months. The report concludes that, given the skill set demonstrated by the UKRAF pilots and the requirements to develop a specialized syllabus only focused on minimum required tasks, about 4 months is a realistic training timeline. While most Ukrainian pilots lack experience in Western jets, a specialized syllabus can be designed to focus on the specific skills required in theater, as well as the fundamental aspects of transitioning from a Soviet-era fighter to an F-16. Nevertheless, any additional training time beyond the minimum requirement would better equip the trainees to operate in Ukraine's highly threatening environment, which involves countering advanced Russian systems like the S-400 long-range surface-to-air missiles and Su-35S fighters. The Lockheed Martin F-16 Fighting Falcon, commonly dubbed the Viper in recent years, has seen plenty of action since entering service in 1978. It's unclear how many fighters Netherlands, Belgium, and Denmark will be willing to commit, and at what point in time. All three of those countries are currently adopting F-35 stealth fighters. The United States possesses a substantial inventory of retired F-16s. Moreover, Washington has the financial resources and necessary access to acquire new F-16s, specifically tailored for deployment by Ukraine. Another advantage of operating F-16s is the availability of the highly advanced F-16V model, which is currently in production. This presents Ukraine with a potential future pathway to obtain a more capable version through upgrades or direct procurement, similar to Taiwan's expansion and enhancement of its F-16C and D fleet to the F-16V model. Notably, the V variant introduces an AESA-type APG-83 radar, offering capabilities that even the longest-range Russian aircraft are yet to possess. The Russian Air Force, renamed the Vozduzhno-Komyshyky Sili (VKS), or Air and Space Forces, in 2015, was supposed to spearhead Russia's so-called special military operation in Ukraine. The Russian Air Force had a 10-to-1 advantage against Ukraine when the campaign started. It was thought that Russia would have full control of the skies in a few days and will be able to neutralize important military targets like Ukrainian command and control centers, as well as air defense systems. But more than 1 year down the line, Russia still doesn't have absolute air superiority. If the conflict between Russia and Ukraine continues, the deployment of several dozen Ukrainian F-16s in 2024 could potentially disrupt the VKS's recently deployed approach, which involves launching glide bombs at Ukrainian cities from a safe distance. The introduction of F-16s could pose a significant challenge to Russia's risk-averse modus operandi, potentially altering the dynamics of the conflict.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.